Imagine driving home on a dark, empty road when a light, too bright, too strange, follows you. What if that night stole hours of your life, left you with memories of beings not from this world, and a map to stars we hadn't even charted? The Betty and Barney Hill case isn't just a story. It's the first documented alien abduction in the US. Was it real? You'll uncover lost time, eerie encounters, and a cosmic mystery that still haunts us. Stick around, decide for yourself what they saw. Picture this: a quiet New Hampshire road, September 1961. A couple, Betty and Barney Hill, drives home under a starlit sky. Suddenly, a light appears. Not a plane, not a star, something erratic closing in. What if that moment wasn't just a late-night scare, but the start of something unthinkable? What if it became the first documented alien abduction in US history? Their story doesn't just raise eyebrows, it raises questions. Could a regular couple, with no reason to lie, stumble into proof of life beyond Earth? Or is there another explanation hiding in the shadows? Here's what's coming. A drive interrupted by forces they couldn't explain. 2 hours vanished without a trace, and memories, under hypnosis, of beings with eyes too large, skin too gray. Then there's the map, a sketch Betty drew, pointing to stars we didn't even know existed back then. Skeptics call it nonsense. Believers call it a breakthrough. But what do you think? This isn't about answers, it's about the mystery. Did something out there pick them that night? Could this be the clue we've all been missing? Stick around to unravel a case that's haunted experts for decades. You'll hear the eerie details, wrestle with the doubts, and maybe, just maybe, start wondering what's really watching us from above. Let's dive in. September 19th, 1961. Betty and Barney Hill weren't looking for trouble. They were just an ordinary couple. Barney, a postal worker. Betty, a social worker, heading home from a quick vacation in Canada. Married, interracial, and grounded in their small New Hampshire town. They were the last people you'd expect to stumble into a cosmic mystery. But that night, as they wound through the White Mountains on Route 3, something shifted. The air was crisp, the road deserted. Just them, their Dachshund Delcy, and the hum of their '57 Chevy. Then they saw it. A light. At first, it was just a speck in the sky, maybe a star, maybe a plane. Barney shrugged it off. Betty wasn't so sure. She grabbed binoculars from the glove box, peering out the window. That speck? It wasn't staying still. It darted, zigzagged, grew brighter. "Barney," she said, "that's no plane." He pulled over, skeptical but curious, stepping out to get a better look. Through the lenses, he saw structure, lights pulsing, a shape unlike anything he knew. A chill crept up his spine. Was this a trick of the night? A secret military test? Or something else, something watching them back? They climbed back in, hearts racing, and drove on. The light didn't leave. It hovered closer, silent but relentless, shadowing their every turn. Betty kept glancing up, unease turning to dread. Barney gripped the wheel, pushing the pedal harder. What was it tracking? Why them? Miles ticked by, tension thickening the air. Then nothing. They blinked, and they were 35 miles down the road. 2 hours had slipped away unaccounted for. Their watches stopped. Their clothes torn and scuffed, like they'd been somewhere else. What happened on that stretch of asphalt? A hallucination from a long drive? A glitch in their minds? Or did something or someone pull them out of time itself? The clues were only starting to pile up, and trust me, this gets stranger. How do you explain a night that doesn't add up? Keep watching. This is where the real questions begin. They pulled into their driveway just before dawn, exhausted, dazed. Betty and Barney Hill couldn't shake the fog in their heads. The drive home should have taken 4 hours from Canada, yet here they were hours late with no memory of why. 2 whole hours gone, vanished like smoke. They sat in silence, replaying the night. That light, had it done something to them? Barney rubbed his neck, uneasy. Betty checked her watch. Dead. His too. Just coincidence, right? But then they looked closer. Betty's dress was torn at the hem, smudged with a pinkish powder she couldn't explain. Barney's shoes, polished that morning, were scuffed, the toes scraped raw. Their car? A dozen shiny circles dotted the trunk, like something magnetic had latched on. They tapped a compass over them. It spun wild, defying logic. What the hell happened? Barney muttered. Their dog, Delcy, whimpered in the back seat, unsettled. The pieces didn't fit. A late-night haze couldn't rip fabric or stop time. Could it? Days passed, and the unease grew. Betty started having dreams, vivid, too real. Shadowy figures, a sterile room, needles. She'd wake up sweating, scribbling notes. Barney? Nightmares of his own. Eyes, huge and black, staring through him. They tried to brush it off. Stress, maybe. Exhaustion from the road. But those gaps, 120 minutes unaccounted for, gnawed at them. Where had they been? Had something followed them home? Experts later weighed in. Sleep deprivation, they said, or shared delusion, folie à deux. Plausible, sure. But how do you explain the compass spinning? The powder on Betty's dress that labs couldn't identify? Was this just their minds playing tricks? Or had an unseen force reached down that night, pulling them into something bigger? Imagine losing time like that. Would you question your sanity or the world around you? The clues pile up next, and trust me, you won't want to look away. What they remembered or didn't changes everything. Months passed, but the shadows of that night wouldn't fade. Betty and Barney Hill couldn't shake the dreams, the dread, the missing hours. By 1963, they turned to Dr. Benjamin Simon, a Boston psychiatrist known for unlocking buried trauma. Hypnosis wasn't new, but what it pulled from their minds, that was uncharted territory. Under his calm voice, they went back to September 20th, 1961. And what came out wasn't just strange, it was otherworldly. Barney went first, eyes closed, voice trembling. He saw the light again, closer now. A craft, flat and wide, hovering over the road. Then figures. They weren't human, he stammered. Tall, thin, gray-skinned, with heads too large and eyes. Black, endless, piercing. They didn't speak, but he felt them in his head, urging him to stay calm. He remembered being pulled from the car, Betty screaming his name, then a blank. Under hypnosis, his terror broke through, sobs, pleas to escape. Dr. Simon stayed steady, probing deeper. Barney saw a table, cold and metal, and those eyes watching as something prodded his skin. Was this real? A nightmare dredged up by fear? Or a memory too wild to face awake? Betty's turn was next. Her trance painted a clearer picture, and a chilling one. She recalled the car stalling, Barney slumped beside her, and figures approaching. They took her inside, wherever inside was. A room, bright and sterile. The beings? Polite but cold, like scientists at work. One, taller, seemed in charge. She asked where they were from. It pointed to a wall, lights blinking in patterns. A map, she thought. They examined her, needles sliding under her skin. She winced in the chair, reliving it. It hurt, she whispered. But they didn't care. Her voice cracked as she described their faces. Expressionless, alien, yet somehow familiar. Human-like, but not human. Dr. Simon didn't buy it. Repressed anxiety, he suggested, maybe Cold War fears. Twisted into fantasy. Fair enough, except their stories matched, even in separate sessions. Same beings, same craft, same eerie calm. Could two people invent that under pressure? Or had something slipped past their conscious minds, waiting to surface? Picture yourself in their shoes, waking from a dream that feels too real, with scars you can't explain. What would you believe? Their words linger, haunting and precise. And here's the kicker. Betty kept something from that night, a sketch that might point beyond Earth. Don't blink, the next part might just shake you. Betty Hill didn't just remember the beings. She remembered their map. Under hypnosis, she described it. A wall of glowing dots, lines connecting them like a cosmic web. The leader, she said, pointed to it when she asked, "Where are you from?" Days after her session, still shaken, she grabbed a pencil and sketched it. Two big stars, smaller ones branching out. A pattern burned into her mind. It sat in a drawer, a curiosity, until years later when someone looked closer. What they found turned this case upside down. In 1968, Marjorie Fish, a schoolteacher with a knack for astronomy, stumbled across Betty's drawing. She wasn't a UFO nut, just a skeptic who liked stars. She spent years matching it to known systems, building 3D models with beads and string. Then, a breakthrough, Zeta Reticuli, a binary star system 39 light-years away, faint and obscure in 61, barely mapped by astronomers. Betty's sketch? It lined up 2 main stars, trade routes fanning out, angles eerily precise. Fish said it matched better than chance could explain. A chill ran through the room. Had Betty drawn a real place? Here's the twist. Zeta Reticuli wasn't well known when Betty saw it. Detailed star catalogs, like the Gliese list, came later. She wasn't an astronomer, just a social worker with no reason to know obscure systems. So how'd she nail it? Imagination running wild? A lucky guess? Or did something plant that image in her head? Critics pounced. Coincidence, they said. The human brain loves patterns. She could have dreamed it up. Possible, sure. But Fish's work held up under scrutiny, and Betty swore she'd never seen a star chart before that night. Picture this. A woman, terrified yet curious, sketching a map to a place we'd barely glimpsed. What if it wasn't random? What if those beings, gray, silent, methodical, left her a breadcrumb? Zeta Reticuli's stars don't shine bright to the naked eye. Why pick them unless you've been there? The questions stack up like dominoes. Did Betty tap into something cosmic? Or are we just seeing what we want to see? The final piece of this puzzle might shock you. Stay locked in, because the debate's about to heat up. The Hill story didn't stay quiet. By 1965, it leaked. First a newspaper, then a book, The Interrupted Journey. Suddenly, Betty and Barney weren't just a couple from New Hampshire. They were a lightning rod. Skeptics lined up fast. Psychologists called it a shared hallucination. Stress from their interracial marriage, maybe, or Cold War paranoia twisting their minds. Astronomers poked holes in the star map. Zeta Reticuli's a stretch, they argued, too vague to prove. Even Dr. Simon, their hypnotist, leaned skeptic. Fantasy, he said. Born from suggestion. Case closed, right? Not so fast. Believers saw gold. UFO researchers hailed it as a cornerstone, the first abduction with details too consistent to dismiss. That light, the missing time, those beings, others started reporting the same. Gray aliens? The Hills gave them a face. And the star map? Marjorie Fish's work kept it alive. Some astronomers, like Carl Sagan, admitted it was intriguing, even if they wouldn't bite. The Hills didn't back down either. Betty spent decades defending it, calm but firm. No fame, no fortune, just a story they couldn't untell. Then there's the ripple. TV shows, movies, Close Encounters owes them a nod. Abduction tales exploded after 61, like they'd cracked a seal. Coincidence? Or did they wake us up to something already here? Their legacy splits the room. Hoax to some, history to others. Physical clues, torn clothes, compass tricks. Tease at truth, but never clinch it. Were they pawns in a cosmic game? Or just tired drivers who dreamed too big? Step back. A quiet couple, a wild night, a tale that won't die. What do you see? Delusion or a door half open? 60 years later, we're still arguing. Maybe that's the point. It sticks with you, gnawing at the edges of what's possible. One thing's sure, this case isn't done asking questions. What's your take? Hallucination or history in the making? So where does this leave us? Betty and Barney Hill, a couple like any other, stepped off a dark road in 1961 and into a mystery that won't let go. A light that stalked them. 2 hours erased, memories of gray beings with eyes too deep to forget. Then that star map pointing to Zeta Reticuli, a place they shouldn't have known. Skeptics call it a mind trick. Believers call it contact. The truth is still out there, flickering like that light in the sky, daring us to look closer. Think about it. Lost time on a lonely highway, a sketch matching stars light years away. Could this be the first real hint of visitors among us? Not a saucer crash, not a blurry photo, but a story so raw it's haunted us for decades. The Hills didn't ask for this, they just lived it. And now it's yours to wrestle with. What do you believe? If this case stirred something in you, curiosity, doubt, a shiver, don't stop here. Hit that subscribe button for more mysteries that bend reality. Share this with someone who'd question it too. Let's keep the conversation alive. The Hills night might have ended, but the wondering, that's just beginning. What's watching us from the stars? Maybe the next clue's already out there.